Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fine Disaster. This is Battlefield 4. In today's weapon review, we're going to be taking a closer look at the M249 Support LMG, available, of course, to the support class in Battlefield 4. We'll be looking at its base stats, properties, and, of course, when it is best used and how to best use it. Now, of course, no surprise here. To start things off, we're going to be talking about the stats of the M249. It's got a standard LMG damage model, that is to say, a maximum damage of 24.5 and a minimum damage of 18. This is paired with a relatively high fire rate for LMG standards at 800 rounds per minute, coming with a box magazine size of 200 bullets. The reload time is going to be identical on the short and long reload because, of course, this is a box magazine at 6.2 seconds on the longer side. But, of course, as box magazine, this is no surprise. Reloads are never fast on LMGs with box magazines. Moving on then to recoil, with a vertical recoil of 0.325, a pull to the left at 0.4 and a pull to the right at 0.3. Obviously this LMG was going to have quite a bit of recoil, and it does, coming with its fire rate. This is nothing too unexpected. However, for some reason I didn't find the recoil too difficult to manage. It seems relatively lot, it seems to sound like quite a bit, but actually in practice this is quite manageable and quite good even at medium range, but we'll get into that in just a moment. For short recoil multiply here is actually low for the LMG at 1.5, meaning that tap firing will actually be an option with this gun. Moving on then, of course, to spread. No surprises here. Standard ADS while not moving of 0.3, ADS while moving of 2, and a hip fire value that's while standing and moving at 6. In other words, these standard rules for LMGs apply. Don't hip fire this gun. Try to avoid strafing while firing this gun. Stand still, aim down sight, and you'll hit your targets much more reliably. Now, next up, before we get into the playstyle and necessary best appliance of this weapon, let's quickly cover the attachments for this gun. Obviously, I'm going to be recommending your RDS of preference. In my case, the Coyote Red Dot sight. This is not a long-range gun. In my opinion, you shouldn't really be using a medium-range or magnified scope. Accessory, this is the usual debate, laser sight or not. I think we've covered it enough. If you feel comfortable switching it off in situations where it gives your position away, put one on. Otherwise, just leave this accessory slot blank. Barrel is actually a little bit more interesting on this weapon. There's a number of different possibilities. If you find yourself struggling with recoil at medium range, that's specifically more likely to be side-to-side recoil, maybe you're going to want to slap on a compensator on here. If you're going to be using this gun quite a bit in close quarter or TDM games, like you will have seen me doing quite a few times in today's video, a suppressor may be actually the best choice for this weapon. Otherwise, you can actually also run this simply with no barrel attachment at all. The gun will still perform very, very well. Underbarrel attachment for me is going to be a vertical grip as per usual. Allows me to strafe maybe a little bit more in close quarter and still hit reliably. Nevertheless, I wouldn't recommend strafing with this LMG. However, generally it improves the mobility of your weapon in the sense that if you do accidentally strafe or hip fire with this gun, you're going to be in a better position than you would be without the vertical grip. Now, with the attachments and the stats of the weapon being covered, let's get into the meat of this video. How do you use this weapon effectively, if it's an effective choice on the battlefield, and what my personal experiences are with this weapon. To start off then with the effective use of it, this weapon is surprisingly versatile. I was shocked actually when I picked this up because I haven't used this gun a lot before this review and tried to go on the kill streak and any kind of TDM or rush game mode, started to engage targets maybe on engagement distance other than close quarters, and surprised to find myself actually landing my shots relatively reliably and not struggling with recoil actually very much. This gun is quite capable of dishing out damage at medium ranges comfortably. Of course, it's not a long range LMG. That's obvious both on the fire rate side, the accuracy side, and the recoil side, but this gun is very capable at both close quarter and medium range, making it more versatile than maybe some of the other LMGs out there. Frankly, I felt a little bit more comfortable with this gun than I would, for example, with the MG4, engaging targets at longer ranges. That's to say medium ranges in this case. Furthermore, I found it to be actually relatively good in TDM. When slapping a suppressor on this gun, it's easy to just go through an entire squad of enemies. It's especially useful, of course, when flanking. Now, this is not to say that this LMG is suddenly better than an assault rifle for something like close quarter or TDM. Frankly, there's no way in hell that's going to be the case, especially because you're not carrying your own health, but instead are just carrying, of course, a support ammunition bag. Nevertheless, this gun was a surprise. So the effective use of this gun obviously is going to be where you can avoid taking damage. Flanking, backstabbing people, maybe taking the outer route instead of the direct combat route. Try to surprise people with your presence. Use the fact that you've got a huge magazine and don't have to reload to go through a number of targets, for example, by flanking them. The Another just effective way to use this gun is make sure you keep within the confines of its combat distance or effective engagement distance, close to medium range. Don't try to long range anybody with this gun. Using the M249 may be easier at longer ranges than using some of the other close quarter LMGs at longer range. It still doesn't mean it's very effective, and as such you should avoid trying to engage snipers or DMR users, or maybe even the long range assault rifles at longer ranges. Maybe distances above 50 meters, I would say, are not really within the optimal engagement distance for this gun. So what would I say about the performance overall? As I said, I was surprised. A relatively competent weapon, a versatile weapon for an LMG, that is to say. And with that being said, I'd also recommend that you actually try this out. You don't see many people using this gun, but it's actually surprisingly good if you know how to use it effectively. This doesn't just come down to using it at the right distances or in the right situations, but also using it in the right way. You should try to avoid run and gun situations with this gun, because bringing up an LMG always takes a lot longer than, for example, bringing up a PDW or an assault rifle to aim down sight, and you do have to aim down sight unless in extreme close quarter with this gun. So try to be a little bit more predicting of what you're going to find when rounding that corner. Maybe ADS before or while rounding that corner in anticipation of an enemy, instead of just jumping around, surprising them and trying to hip fire them down. This tactic differs a little bit from something like an assault rifle or a PDW, where you can comfortably just run around and when seeing an enemy, then engage in ADS or hip fire to kill them. With that being said, feel free to leave your experiences with the M249 down below in the comments, as well as future video suggestions both for Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4, especially for Battlefield 4. I'm slowly running dry on the number of things that you guys want to see on my never-ending list of suggestions. Plenty of suggestions for Battlefield 1, but not so many people have lately been making suggestions for Battlefield 4. So if you have a specific gun or topic you'd like me to address in Battlefield 4, make sure you let me know down below in the comments, as well, of course, as your usual suggestions, opinions with the gun and the video. But with all that being said, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Battlefield 4 video.